Hey everybody, what's up, and welcome back to the channel for a little bit more Blood and Plunder for you today as we wrap up the native factions. And we're going to do another 2-for-1 here with the Southeastern Woodland tribes and the Westo. So we got 1607 to 1814 and then 1660 to 1680 roughly. As always, we have to abide by the Native American factions restrictions here. So just to get them out of the way real quick, no ships of size 2 or larger. If we are the attacker in the scenario, we can deploy half of the units rounding down, following lay in wait, so essentially an ambush situation there. And any ships in the force that we do take include paddles for free, essentially, and no artillery, so standard stuff there that we've seen over and over again now. Now, rounding out these last two factions kind of continues the trend of what we've seen for the last several here, and that's essentially that we get Warcry paired with one other special ability across the force. So let's take a look at the Southeastern Woodland tribes first, and then really the other part of the lists here that we've seen these last few is really just a different rearrangement of the 4 units between the core and support. So here with the Southeastern tribes, we gain Rain of Arrows and Warcry. So the Rain of Arrows is really cool because we get, basically we can take 2 actions or a dedicated action essentially to shoot with the bows, and then we get rerolls on that. So not having to like burn a fortune for that. So we take one like really good shot with what should be a lot of hits, if not all hits, versus just taking multiple actions and shooting multiple times. So debatable. Someone can run the math on it, but it is an interesting idea that we could take there. Now, Warcry, as we've seen, basically when this unit takes a free fight action from a charge and scores hits, the enemy takes basically one more fatigue die test essentially. So, or not one more test, but one more die as part of the test. So as long as we get that hit in, we're getting some extra action in there. So organization wise, again, it's just a shuffling of these same 4 units here. So, and like a lot of the ones recently that we've seen too, everything's kind of skewed towards the core units, with the Warrior Musketeers this time sitting on the outside as support. So all great units, but especially we get plenty of archer action and archer availability in the list if we want to take advantage of Rain of Arrows. We do have some musket forces or musket units in the force if we want them to have that with upgrades and things like that. Some, of course, come with it, like the Warrior Musketeers. But then we can also be just very deadly in close combat, especially with Warcry and great dedicated units like the Warriors for that. So lots of good things going on there. Now, the command options, any Southern Tribes Commander or Matamaha. Again, we'll take a look at the commanders in a whole separate series of videos for all the factions as well. And then allied factions here, different flavors of militia. We can go Spanish, English, North American militia, or Scottish militia, which we have not covered that yet. We'll get to that eventually. Now, finally, coming to the end here, we take a look at the Westo. And here everybody gets Ruthless in Warcry. Ruthless is a cool one. So basically, if we're shooting at or fighting against a unit that has more already like more fatigue, basically it's going to be better to hit them, essentially is how it's going to work out. And again, Warcry as well. Here again, the units get shuffled around. The Warrior Musketeers slide over to core, and the Young Warriors bounce out to support. And then our command options, no special characters here, just any Southern Tribes commander. And then similarly, we get the Spanish militia, English North American militia, and Scottish militia again. So pretty much like the Southeastern Woodland tribes, barring the unit swap, and swapping out Rain of Arrows for Ruthless. So Ruthless definitely can be fun if timed right against enemies that already have more fatigue on them than we do. So that kind of rounds out the native factions. There's just a lot to play with, especially great units. Has some interesting restrictions that certainly force us to adopt our playstyle from the more European centric factions, and do bring us sort of the low-tech units in the form of bow-armed units and other like thrown weapons and stuff like that. So that being said, really strong units when used correctly, and also with their best with their best sort of synergies in mind, and just maximizing what they do really well, and not trying to make them fight and play like the other, again, European factions. Just really, again, taking advantage of what they do and do well, and try to avoid the bad stuff that they're not so good at. So that rounds these guys out. We'll be moving on to some of the minor factions and pirates and so on and so forth. But again, good all-around look here at the natives. Certainly check out our other videos on that. And as always, remember that we do have to abide by those basic restrictions that we talked about at the beginning of the video. So again, no large ships. The ships that we do take get paddles, just to be simple on it, and then no artillery. And now if the scenario favors us and we can get that taking advantage of being the attacker and getting lay in wait as well on some of the sneakier things that our units can do, we can definitely mess with the enemy and disrupt their plans. So let us know, guys, which of your native factions you have played. Have you taken these two out in particular, the Southeastern Woodland and or the Westo, and just of all the different factions, which has been your favorite to play, and what factions do you think they play well against, and where do you struggle? So hit us up in the comments, guys. Like and subscribe. We'll have more Blood and Plunder for you very, very soon. Thanks so much for watching.